about to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.
Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a toad in the hole cook with me. It's probably one of my most requested videos to do. I showed it in one of our meals of the week before and everybody's like, please do a tutorial on it. I'm notoriously bad at toad in the hole, but I have perfected it and this will be amazing. So if you'd like to know how I do it, just keep watching. So the ingredients you're going to need is 200 ml of semi-skimmed milk. We've got 140 grams of plain flour, and we're going to use 4 medium free-range eggs, and then just some salt and pepper. I'm making this in the morning and we're going to be eating it later on this evening because it comes out much better if you leave the batter to sit. So I'm just going to mix it all together. So I'm just going to put my flour into my mixing jug. I'm just going to make a well in the centre. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Going to crack my 4 eggs into the centre. And then I'm just going to whisk those together. Once I've incorporated the flour and the eggs together, I'm just going to gradually add my milk and whisk that in as well. You can also add a little bit of sage into your mixture if you want to, especially with pork sausages. It goes really nice. I'm just going to add the rest of the milk. And that's basically it for the batter. Once it's all mixed together, I'm going to put the lid on and I'm just going to leave it to sit and settle until I need it a bit later on. The longer you can leave it, the better. So make sure it's all completely mixed, and then your batter side is done. So there's my batter all whisked together, and it's a reasonably runny liquid. But I'm just going to pop a lid on that and leave it to set now. So recently, to make our mashed potato, I've discovered that leaving the skin on has 2 benefits. The first one is that most of the vitamins and nutrients are actually in the skin, so by peeling your potatoes for mash, you're getting rid of a lot of like the vitamin C and things. And the second benefit, and probably the most important, is that it takes about half the time. So what I do is, instead of just chopping them like into quarters, I find that if I cut them quite small into little cubes, I don't know, I suppose they're about 1 inch square maybe, just little cubes, and then boil them, I find that they just mash. I put them through the ricer and they mash really easily, and you can't really notice that you've left the skin on. So it's worth a try and see what you think, because it is a lot better for you and it's so time saving. So I'm going to chop them up and then I'm going to give them a good rinse through and just boil them in some salted water like I do normally with mash. So I I've just put my potatoes on to boil. I've just put them in some salted water, and I'm also going to cook some frozen peas. Then I'm just going to make up some gravy. So I'm cheating, I'm not making it from scratch. I'm going to use this Bisto Best. This is the beef one. You just add hot water and it really is a nice tasting gravy, and especially as it's a school night, it's just quick and easy. So I've got my baking trays. They're just flat bottom baking dishes, nothing special. I'm just going to lay my sausages in them. I'm actually going to do 2 because obviously we've got the 3 boys and I think I've got 10 sausages here, so I don't want to cram too many in one pan. So I think if I tried to fit 10 in one pan, it might, yeah, I think they'd just all end up on top of each other. So I'm just going to lay 5 in each pan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some vegetable oil. I always use rapeseed for things like toad in the hole, or anything where you need to get the oil very hot, because it has a higher smoke point than things like olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil. They all burn at a much lower temperature and you need your oil very, very hot for these to rise properly. So I'm going to put some rapeseed oil in the pans, and then I'm going to pop these in with the sausages as they are for around 5 or 10 minutes, just to get the oil really, really hot and to get the sausages starting to cook. Then I'll bring them out and add my batter and pop them back in. So I've just switched my oven on to preheat. I'm going to do mine, I've got a fan assisted electric oven, so I'm going to put mine at around 230 degrees, and I'm just going to pour some rapeseed oil into the pans. It's probably about a tablespoon, I would say, just enough to cover the bottom, and we're going to get that nice and piping hot. So however good your oven is, it might take you a little bit longer. Like I said, I think once my oven's to temperature, I'm going to start off with about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll see how we go. So my batter's in here and I've just let that sit for a good few hours. So the trick to this is getting your oil very, very hot and then not opening the oven door. That's why I'm serving it with mash today, because this is where I make the mistake of trying to do it with roast potatoes, and you need to keep opening the oven to check, then they're not going to rise and they're not going to be fluffy. So once these are in with the batter, you need to leave them as long as possible without opening that door. So I've just riced up my potatoes, and while I think that the potato ricer is a really good invention, it's hard work if you've got a lot of mash to do. I've made extras so we can have some left over to make a shepherd's pie or something, and it takes a lot longer than just using a masher. So all I'm going to do now is add in a spoonful of flora, some salt and pepper, and a good dollop of Coleman's mustard, and then that will be our mash done. I've got the peas on to boil, the gravy's made, and the toad in the hole is in the oven. Okay, so my toad in the hole has been in for about 15 minutes, and I would say they're pretty much done. And they look amazing. So I'm just going to leave the other one in for another 5 minutes because it's not quite risen, but that is what you're aiming for. And it's very hot. So there we go. Here is number 2 now out of the oven. You can hear it's lovely and crispy, and the inside is very fluffy. And yeah, I'm pleased with that. So if you follow that recipe, don't open the oven. That's the biggest tip I can give you. And let your batter sit. Make it beforehand and let it sit. So I've made my mash, my peas are done. What I'm going to do now is just dish one up and show you it fully finished. So here we are, all plated up. I'm just going to add some gravy. I've left it off to show you, but there we go. We've got our skin on mash, we've got our garden peas and our toad in the hole, and I'm just going to pop some gravy on the top of that, and then we're just going to add the gravy. So I hope that helped some of you guys. It seems such a simple dish, but it can be a real nightmare. It's definitely my nemesis. Sometimes it just doesn't rise, but this is a foolproof method, and if I can make it look like it does, then anyone can do it. So if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a big thumbs up. Go and subscribe if you're not already. There's a whole playlist of cook with me's. I will link them all down below. We also do meals of the week, food hauls and family vlogs. So go and subscribe if you're not already, and check us out over on Instagram. It's just the Foulger family. I'll also link that down below, and I will see you guys in our next video.
This is what we waited